Hello and welcome back to the next update from New Azona. Now this update we're going to do things slightly differently because, well, I've made so much progress that I think it'd be easiest to do it in the form of a city tour. So let's have a quick look and I'll show you how I built things along the way. So here's our first building, which is doing here in that classic sort of Spanish/California style with the white quartz blocks and then the terracotta style roof. This one's 3 stories tall. Okay, so here's our first shop. This one's called Oldie Style Groceries because it's sort of where you sort of buy the apples and things from the basket. First I did this little courtyard here which had some seats for the neighbouring restaurant. And then as you can see, here's me building it here. So yeah, we've also got some random plants and things. These are meant to be sort of vegetables for sale and that's just a barcode reader. There we go, so that's pretty cool. Let's move on to our Spanish restaurant. I know most restaurants tend to end up being Spanish, but I feel like it just kind of fits the architectural style. So yeah, as you can see, I've got some random sort of paintings littering the walls, and I think this is a nice technique. I haven't really done the detail in the back just yet. It doesn't even have a roof, to be honest. So let's exit and go to our next shop. Now, these next shops, so we're going to start with the clothes store. As you can see, I've got these sort of pre-made banners that I made earlier. Then we're sort of putting them on these end rods, and we've got a little display in the middle there. Now for what's going to be a pizza restaurant. So we've got some bar stools for this style of seating. Right, let's have a look at the clothes store, shall we? So in here I've used armour stands to sort of convey extra stock using some slabs. They're just on slabs there. Here you can see is the extensive redstone wiring. Though it's all kind of the same stuff, so it's very manageable. I've done little black things to sort of show what the neckline is like. And we've got some more shirts over there. Okay, here's our pizza place. I've just done pumpkin pie for pizza. And this one I've actually bothered to do a kitchen with a little pizza oven. So I think that looks pretty cool. And we've got a toilet through there. Though I don't bother furnishing the toilets mostly. No one really wants to go in there anyway. Okay, now for the library, which I've done. Oh, no, it's more of a bookshop. So here are some magazines for sale in just sort of a pile. Then we go along here, and here are some like postcards or things. I don't know, more magazines. I've mixed up the chiseled bookshelves with the regular bookshelves. We've got light switches that turn on and off, as I try to add in all of my buildings, other than the fashion stores with the end rods, because they're already lit up. Here's just an office space for some random company. The light switch works as usual. And we've got a little coffee machine, implied by a brewing stand there. Now let's exit and go to the Mexican restaurant. Okay, so as you can see, I had a failed sort of first facade there, which was just a bit boring. I wanted something that contrast visually. We've gone for this darker sandstone tone. Okay, then I decided to do some Art Deco buildings lining this main street, inspired by some of the Art Deco scene in Miami. So there's one done there, and then I decided to do a more colourful, like sort of pastel coloured one, with these pinks and these blues. So here's the Mexican restaurant. Well, this took a lot of designing because I wanted to try and make it different, so we've got a vivid red carpet and some cool sort of patterning along the sides there. I've got this nice gradient on the wall. We go from the quartz pillar to the strip birch to the regular strip jungle. Yeah, I think this is looking cool. We've got a nice view out there. And then we can easily get to the courtyard, which is pretty cool. Although it's not actually a courtyard. Now let's move on to the next restaurant, which is in a very interesting style. So we're going to start with a nice checkerboard pattern in the middle for the floor. Nice, then we've decorated with some buttons around the sides. Some nice sort of chairs and tables there. And we need to add in the lights, of course, hidden with carpets. Now we're going to do a swimwear store. So this is sort of similar to the clothes store, but it's just more colourful because it's swimwear. So if we go in, we've got the cash register there. We've got some more sort of clothes and things. Okay, these are Tom's Trader Goods. Now this was a little tiny shop I did to film this tiny corner space here. And it turned out okay, I think. It's really chock full of knickknacks. So we've got plants, paintings, sort of things that some random guy might set up shop for. I haven't done the roof yet. Let's do that. Okay, now let's explore the restaurant that we were doing earlier. So this is where you'd be asked to wait to be seated. And you walk through here, we've got a similar sort of painting aesthetic. Then we've got some tables and chairs. We've got a lovely red roof this time as opposed to a red floor. We've got salt and pepper pots here. I think that's a really cute detail. Moving over here, this is the entrance to the apartments which are above the restaurant. Now I want to do something interesting here. So we've got a lounge for the residents. So they've got their little tables and chairs here. There's an elevator for accessibility access, a storage cupboard for the apartments, and then just a communal area to put snacks and things and a book share. Now over to this Art Deco building, I'm going to start with a central foyer because this would be like offices. So let's explore it, shall we? So here's the elevator. Then here's seats by the window. This is for like sort of chilling out, because we've got a coffee machine with some mugs there. The upper floors aren't properly furnished, but they are lit up. There's a light switch here which controls all of the floors. As you can see there, they've been turned off and on again. Moving over to our little cafe round the back. This is an outdoor cafe by Counter Service. So we've got a kitchen design in there, and then you go around here to order your food. Now this is mainly a lunchtime sort of place. So we've got steak pie, carrot cake. Okay, and there are the chairs outside there. And we've got a nice view of the hotel, which we'll build later. Now I need to cover the previous interiors with actual roofs. And now in here we've got the entrance to the apartments, which would be above the other shops. So let's take a look, shall we? Here's the accessibility elevator. And here's where we'd have a little check-in. You can see we've got the keys on those tripwire hooks there. Again, I haven't really done the interiors for the rooms because that is just kind of boring. But we have got a chandelier on the entrance, which is quite interesting. And I think this is enough to give that sort of sense of explorability. Now let's move on to the 6th city block. So this one's got a hotel, which we've started there. But I will also import some buildings from our 1st city block and adapt them to sort of fit in this area. Okay, so now I'm extending the hotel with this arch motif and then this nice Spanish style roof. I think it looks pretty cool, so let's just sort of finish it off here. Now we need to fill these areas in with some just general apartments, which I plan to animate with lights which turn automatically on and off. Anyway, on to the next bit. Now I gutted this build because the block was just looking a bit too dense with buildings, so I've instead got a little park in the middle there. It looks nice because now the hotel can back onto the park with a restaurant out back. Let's add some trees and palm trees. There we go. Now let's explore this city block with the interiors. Okay, so here's another restaurant. I don't really know what to fill most of these properties with. Restaurants seem to just sort of lend themselves well. So let's turn on the lights. So this is the building process. As you can see, I always start with the floor. Then I just sort of mark out the walls and block out the windows in this case so that the lights actually make a difference. Added some pillars. Yeah, and then added the chairs. Looks pretty cool. Yeah, so this is it. Let's turn the lights off as we leave. On to the next bit, which is going to be an estate agent. Now this is a larger estate agent. We've got a map in the middle there. Then we've got some desks where the employees can help out. So let's explore, shall we? We've got our new map here. This is updated from the other one in a previous episode. So it's a bit bigger to cover the entire city. We've got some knickknacks there, maybe some brochures. Let's turn off the lights. This light switch is in a bit of an awkward position because I can't be bothered to hook it up properly. There isn't really much space anyway. Now onto these buildings, you'll notice something interesting. They're animated. So here's me building the redstone. It's really not that complex. I'll explain it in a bit. But now I'll show you the results. Of course, this is massively sped up. Okay, so we've got an etho hopper clock with like a stack or so of blocks so that it just occasionally switches on and off. That triggers these droppers, which then have random numbers of minecarts and redstone dust in. And the minecart, when that's fired, will change it so that the light switches on or off. Then we've got these palm trees here, which are a slightly different design. Talking about greenery, I'm quite proud of this little sort of roadway here, where I've sort of arched these trees over the middle of the road to make it feel nice and enclosed. Anyway, moving on to the hotel, for which I've got a cool interior. My main inspiration for this hotel interior was, to be honest, the Tower of Terror at Disneyland, so if it kind of gives that aesthetic, then I guess I've succeeded. Then let's do this outdoor terrace here with some chairs, and an indoor section. This would be the little hotel restaurant. And we've got an outdoor terrace here, which I might as well just fill with some plant pots and greenery. Okay, on a side note, this is a nice view from the river, which I'll probably just put some trees here because I do want to protect this view. Okay, here's the check-in. We've got 3 check-in desks there. We're clearly expecting a lot of people. Now let's turn the light on. As you can see, all of the floors here are lit up now. Now let's turn the light off and you'll see that they all go dark. There we go. Okay, moving through here, I've got a surprise for you. There's the emergency stairs there. I've built a bar in this little cozy place here. I think this is a really nice design. We've got some drinks around the back, even though they're books. I like to imagine they're drinks. It leads out to this courtyard / park. And I think that's a really nice enclosed area there. We've got some parasols which are sort of hooked up, so they're not actually open yet. Moving up to the main terrace, we've got some more chairs and tables and some parasols that are also folded up, because otherwise it just looks a bit too visually intrusive if they're all out. Anyway, we've got a nice open atrium here with a sort of multi-stepped floor layout, and there would be some rooms up here, but I've been lazy and haven't actually done them yet. Right, let's move on to these last shops, shall we? So this one is a stationery shop, so it sells like magazines, maybe some books, knickknacks, scissors, masking tape, all that kind of stuff. I'll let you see for yourself. Righty, let's explore. So here we've got some books and things along the back, some magazines over there, some knickknacks that would be along these shelves, some things by the till. Let's turn the lights off as well. There we go, that all works. Yeah, so here are the magazines around the back. I've tried to sort of imply how they'd be labelled. Very interesting. I'm pretty happy with this interior, to be honest. I like how it snugly fits below the hotel. Now I'm going to do a little art shop. This one's got paintings, and we've got basically just sort of plain walls, which I'm going to put the Minecraft paintings on. And the lights work. As you can see, it's pitch black in here now, and I can turn the lights back on. Don't know if you saw from the time lapse, but we've got a cash register here and some like small souvenirs that are also for sale. Okay, I think that's it now for all the shops. Ooh, we do have a small entrance to the apartments above the shops though. However, I haven't actually done an interior for this again. I will just neaten this up though, this is a mess. Yeah, it's used for lighting up, so I can't really put an interior there. Anyway, I really hope you've enjoyed this city block tour. I'll hopefully be back with another video from New Azona soon. The next one will be on some dingbat style apartments, which are a very interesting style of apartment found in most specifically LA, so I'll leave you to look forward to that video. I've also been working on some traffic light infrastructure, so as you can see here are the sort of walk signals. And next video I'll be working on all the cars and buses that will populate these streets. So look forward to that. I do love this hotel sign, I don't know if you noticed it, but I think I've had to squish in all the letters. But I think it turned out pretty cool. And here's a view looking around the city. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you're enjoying this new city series, please Let me know what you'd want from this city series. Do you want more detail, more big builds, more sort of small builds? Or just anything really, I'd love to hear it. Anyway, that's all for today. See ya.